Hello everybody, my name is Sean and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another predictions video today on the channel. We've done this for the Premier League last year, we'll do it for the Premier League this year, we've done it for the Euros. I'm not going to react to those predictions because yeah, I kind of fucked up, but I will do these predictions and I will then react to them in a year's time. If you haven't checked out my KSI album reaction, go and check that out. It's the last video on the channel. We've done a live stream and we rated the entire album. The Logic album will be coming soon as well. I'll do that on stream and I'll give it a full breakdown and all that kind of stuff. So without further ado, let's get into the Premier League predictions. Now, I've done a little bit more research on what I kind of want to talk about in terms of why I've placed the teams where I have. Now, some of the teams in here, they were just to fill spaces, kind of. Like, I was kind of going through and going, right, where do I actually think these teams might finish based on transfers, based on rumours, and the team that they already have, obviously. So I was going through it and then I had like a couple of positions left and I thought, well, that team probably won't finish there, that team probably won't finish there, but I needed to put them in somewhere. So starting off with number 20, dead last in the league, I'm going to go with Brighton. Now, I'm going to go with Brighton because they don't seem to have done anything in the transfer window. Now, I know they have a few decent players. They have Trossard, they have Bissouma, they have players like that, and I think they're very strong players. But they got rid of Matthew Ryan to Real Sociedad as well, and then they got rid of Ben White to Arsenal, obviously. Now, there were two, like, well, Ben White was a key figure, but obviously Matthew Ryan, I think he was the starting goalkeeper last year, if I'm not mistaken. So getting rid of your first team keeper and then your centre back for 50 million, it's going to have an impact. And I know Bissouma's a very, very good player, and to keep him for the rest of the transfer window, because I'm recording this on the 4th, so the rest of the transfer window is still to come, but I think they're not gonna be there at all. Like, they're not gonna have that click, I don't think. Now, I could obviously be completely wrong, but my opinion is that I don't think Brighton's gonna make it out of relegation. They might be, nah, they'll not even be close, I don't think. Obviously they had Locadia coming back from FC Cincinnati, but I don't think they're gonna make any impact, and then they're gonna get relegated. Bissouma, Trossard, all their decent players are just going to be wiped away from them, and then they're going to have to start again. So yeah, 20th for Brighton. I do apologise to the fans that's in the relegation zone. This is just my opinion. Obviously I could be completely wrong at the end of the year, but I want to make my predictions and this is what was going on in my head. So 19th, I have put Burnley. Now, when doing my research, I found that it was like there was a takeover going to go on, but I don't know if it really happened, so I'm going to completely wipe that from my mind. Now, they've done nothing in the transfer window. They've not even got like major rumours about anybody coming in, which I was looking at, and I think they've stayed in the Premier League for way too long. I think they've pushed their luck a little bit, and I think this is the season that they go down. But if they go down to the Championship, I feel like they can have a very, very decent rebuild, get some lower quality players or under the radar players because in the Championship, and then build from there. Maybe Sean Dyche isn't the answer anymore, but we'll have to find out. So in 18th, I have got newly promoted Brentford. Now, I know that's a bit of a knife in the heart for Brentford fans, because obviously this is the first time you've been up in a number of years, but I think you haven't strengthened enough. Like, obviously you've got Tony up front, you've got Christopher Ayer for centre back, but I don't think you've strengthened your team as much as you maybe could have. Like, I don't know, maybe you needed like a creative midfielder, like somebody that's gonna run the game, like really run the game, like a Wijnaldum for Liverpool, a KDB for Manchester City, or that kind of thing, you know. One of those players that's gonna really push your game to the next level, and I just don't think you have that. So I put you in 18th. I think it'll be close, like a close race to stay up, but I think you'll just go down. Now, out of the relegation zone. Now, you're going to wonder why there's a space here and you can see all this shit in the background, but it's just earphones and whatever. But I've left this space because at the end I'm going to stick up the table so you can like take screenshots or like compare or whatever. But in 17th, I have newly promoted Watford. Now, I think Watford have actually done pretty decent. I think they've got a strong team to begin with. Obviously they've got Ben Foster, who's a pretty decent goalkeeper. Sorry. They've got obviously Sarr, Ismail Sarr. They've got all these like decent players. They just brought in Joshua King and Danny Rose, which I think are very decent recruitments for the Watford team. I think they've got a strong team to stay up. Now I think they might go even maybe higher than 17th, but I think 17th is their peak, so then they stay in the Premier League and then they can build on that next season. Now moving into 16th, this is going to be very controversial, and this is one of the ones that I didn't really know if I wanted to put them here. Like, this was one of the ones that kind of just filled the space, but in 16th I've put Wolves. Now the reason I say this, because they obviously just lost Nuno, the manager. They got Trincao from Barcelona on a loan. Now I think he's a really promising character and figure that's going to be in the team, but I think honestly their players, because Nuno is away, their players are just going to be picked off. Like Ruben Neves is like rumoured to leave and go to like Arsenal or something. Patricio's already left. Adama Traore's like rumoured to go. You did bring in Ait Nouri, but I don't think he's gonna be good enough to like push the team. Now I just think your entire team is gonna get picked off by bigger clubs like Ruben Neves, João Moutinho, Traore, those kind of players, and you're going to be left with not much to build upon. But I think you'll stay up. I just think that it'll be close in that kind of section from like 15th to 19th. I think that'll be like a really close race. So I've got you in 16th. Now, in 15th, this might be a surprise, I have newly promoted Norwich, the last of the promoted teams. Now, the reason I say this is because the recruitments that they've brought in to already go on to a strong squad, I think is fantastic. Now, obviously, you've got Billy Gilmore on loan, and my God, Billy Gilmore is fantastic. Like, in the Euros for Scotland, he was one of the standout players. Obviously, Scotland didn't do well. No one's really a standout player in the Scottish team, but Billy Gilmore was there. He was like holding us together. The passes he was making, he's a very positive player. You brought in Andre Gunn, obviously an ex-Man City like reserve keeper, but he went to Southampton. Was it Southampton? He went to another team and done relatively well. So I think that's a very good recruitment for Norwich. Obviously you've got Tim Krul, but I don't know if he's retired now, but he's getting towards that kind of age, so bringing in a backup is a very, very smart idea. And then obviously Rashika from Werder Bremen. Now, I haven't seen much of him play, but I've heard very, very positive things about him from other fans, from maybe Norwich fans or people online. I've heard very, very decent things about him. So I think Norwich is going to have a very strong team, and then I think they're going to do even better. So yeah. Now moving on to 14th, again very controversial. I'm going to put Southampton. Now, the reason I say this as well is because obviously you've kept Ward-Prowse, Theo Walcott's there, but you have lost Danny Ings to Aston Villa. You've lost Lamina, I can't remember where he went, but you've lost him. And I just think you're going to have a totally underwhelming season. I don't think you're going to have the season you think you're going to have. It's just, you know, I think it's going to be a tough season for you. Obviously, Ward-Prowse will be probably one of your best players, but I don't think it can carry the entire team, obviously, to top 10. But 14th, I've got you still strong in the Premier League, like below mid-table, but still there, kinda. Now in 13th, I didn't know where to put this team either. It's Crystal Palace. Now, I've got mixed feelings about Patrick Vieira being the manager. Obviously, Roy Hodgson was not the manager for you, and I'm quite glad that he's left you now, because he had a very backwards style of playing. Like, obviously he's an older manager, which no one obviously is arguing with, and his tactics were kind of out of date as well, but a new manager was needed. But I just don't know if Vieira's the character to do that. Now, he's made some calls while doing punditry before, and he's not really got them right, but hopefully that's just like a bit of bias from the punditry point of view, and his managerial tactics and mindset is a bit different. Now, he's brought in a few decent, like, recruitments, and obviously you've got Zaha, you've got Eze there already, you've got, right, let me try and say the name, Gucci, something like that. Olise and Anderson. Obviously Olise, I don't know where he's from, like Nice or something, I think. But Anderson from Lyon, and that Gucci, he looks like a real talent for you. And obviously you've got Eze and Zaha there already. So I think it could be a strong season for you. And obviously it's Vieira's first season, so a manager has to get settled in. I give a manager at least a season to settle in, and then the next season is when I want them to kind of prove themselves a little bit. So I think that's my reasoning for putting them in 13th. Now moving on to almost mid-table, obviously 12th, I'm going to put West Ham. Now, I know they had a fantastic season last season, got into Europe obviously, but one of the main reasons for that was Lingard. Now, he had a fantastic season. Like, it was almost like a second breakout season for him. Obviously he's not that young anymore, he's like 29, but it was like a second coming of Lingard. So, but obviously you've lost him now because he was on loan, and it doesn't look like you're going to get him back. Now you look like there's rumours about Kamara from Marseille coming to you, and there's also rumours about Kurt Zouma from Chelsea. I don't know if they'll ever come to fruition, because I don't know if Chelsea will sell to West Ham because of the rivalry, but you did get Areola on a loan. Now, I think he might be a fantastic keeper for you, but I don't think he can do it all himself. Obviously, Mark Noble, did he not retire just at the end of last season? So he might not, like, obviously he'll not play. I don't know. I don't think. Obviously, you've got Souček still, you've got Kufal or Sufal or however you say it, and I've a few decent players to keep you going, Mikel Antonio and all those kind of players, but I just can't see it happening again. Obviously, I could be completely wrong, but I think your focus, maybe West Ham's focus this season, will be Europe, to try and push themselves in further into the competition. So maybe that's why as well. Moving on to 11th, almost getting to mid-table. I'm gonna go with Newcastle. Now, obviously, this takeover that they're fucking talking about has been going on for ages, but they didn't get it. But you could get Joe Willock back. There's still rumours of him coming back on another loan, or Arsenal keeping him. It's one of those two. So if you get Willock back, I think you could have a strong season and finish, as I said, 11th. You're also rumoured to buy Tuanzebe and Glenn Kamara from Rangers. Now, I don't know. Newcastle always seem to surprise a lot of people. I think that's going to be one of these seasons. A lot of people are going to put them lower down, but I can see them actually doing not bad actually. So yeah, 11 for Newcastle. Now here's a very, very controversial one. And this isn't really where I wanted to put the team, but I just had to because of where I put everyone else. I think Spurs is going to finish 10th. Now let me tell you why. Now obviously you got Brian Gill from Sevilla, I think it was, and he looks like a promising player, but I think you have to build more than that, because you just lost one of your main defenders, Toby Alderweireld, and I think you have to replace him as well. And obviously the manager Nuno, I think he'll do really well, but again, it's his first season. Let him have that season to kind of work his way into the Spurs team, and then give him the next season after that. You also lost Gareth Bale again. He's away back to Real Madrid. I don't know if he's going to come back. I don't think so. I can't see it. But you lost Gareth Bale, and obviously the big elephant in the room, there's a possibility of losing Harry Kane. If you lose Harry Kane, I think your season goes to pot. Obviously you've got Heung-min Son, but it was kind of the partnership of those two that worked really well. Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, it was like that was the thing. But if Harry Kane's not there, I don't think it's going to be as strong, obviously. Now you have a strong team like Højbjerg and Ndombele and those kind of players, but I just don't see it going any further than that. Obviously this is the first season of Nuno. He might bring in some absolute wonderful talent, but I just can't see you doing that well. Now in 9th I put Everton, which I think a lot of people were expecting Everton were going to be around that 9th, 10th, 11th mark. The reason I put them 9th is because of, obviously, they've just got Rafa Benitez. I think Rafa Benitez is a fantastic manager. I don't know if he can do it for Everton as well, but obviously we'll see. Now, you did get Moise Kean back on off loan from PSG. Now, he showed some promising signs for PSG, and I think he can bring that back to Everton with you. So like Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison and Moise Kean, I think that's going to be like lethal in rotation. I think that will be really, really good. Obviously you just got Demarai Gray from Leverkusen again for a very cheap price. I think he's a really, really good player, and I think he could spice up the Everton team to replace like Bernard and just work his way into the team a little bit more. And obviously there is a major rumour going about that you could sign Denzel Dumfries from PSV. Now if you sign him, I think that's a banging move. I think that is a fantastic move, because Seamus Coleman is getting on a little bit, and the only person you've got to replace him is Sidibe, and I mean Sidibe is just not that great. I don't know if he even plays for Everton anymore. Sorry, I just can't speak. But if you get Denzel Dumfries, I feel like that'll put confidence into your backline a little bit more, and into the midfield, so they can do more. Because the midfield of Alan, Doucouré, and I can't remember the other person. Is it Sigurdsson? But those two anyway, Doucouré and Allen, they are two fantastic holding midfielders. Now obviously Allen's more like kind of box to box ish, Doucouré is more defensive mid, but I feel like they two are fantastic players, and if they had a little bit confidence in their defence, they'll be able to do more, I think. So yeah, 9th for Everton. Getting into the top 8 now. Number 8, I've got Aston Villa. Now, that may be surprising for some people, because obviously the big elephant in the room that Jack Grealish is going to go to Man City, and I think it's almost complete now. All today that they've said that he's going for the medical, he's got the plane booked and all that kind of stuff, and he's pretty much going to be a Manchester City player in the next couple of days. So I think they pretty much lost Jack Grealish, but props to Aston Villa and the management and the recruitment team. Brought in Leon Bailey from Leverkusen. That is a fantastic move. Anybody that has watched even like a couple of minutes of him playing in the Bundesliga, even a couple of games of his, if you go back and kind of watch some of his stuff, he is a fantastic player. He's a talent worthy of a big team, and Aston Villa have just gone out and just bought him. Like, for a couple of years now, big teams have wanted him. Arsenal and Spurs and like Chelsea and all those kind of teams, they've wanted Leon Bailey, but they haven't got him, obviously. And now Aston Villa, from under the radar, has just picked him up in a done deal. That is a fantastic move. And another fantastic move, well, two other ones. Buendia from Norwich, really good. Weakening the opposition coming up from the Championship and strengthening your team with such a fantastic player. I feel like that's going to be crucial to Aston Villa's season this season. And obviously they've got so many other players as well, and you don't have to like rely on Ollie Watkins this season anymore, because just in the last like day you signed Danny Ings from under the noses of Manchester City, Chelsea, Man United. Now Danny Ings was going, I want to move to either Manchester United or Manchester City. Chelsea were then going in for him because they couldn't really get their transfer targets, and Aston Villa swept right underneath them all and got Danny Ings for themselves. So now their front three is going to be Leon Bailey, Buendia and Danny Ings up front. Now, you can say whatever about Danny Ings, like he's not a top striker. Now, I think if he's got the right input to him, he can provide the output. He is a fantastic, he's a really good striker. I'm not going to say fantastic because like there's some strikers better than him obviously, but I think he is a really good striker. Like when Man City were talking about getting him, I wanted him. I really did want him, because if De Bruyne and Sterling and Mahrez and Foden and all of them were like playing the ball into Danny Ings, into the box, he would score, guaranteed. Because for Southampton he's been doing it, so how could he not do it for a bigger team? And Aston Villa's obviously thinking the same thing, and they're going for it. So I think they've brought in some fantastic players, and they could even go higher than 8th. I think they could even reach a European spot. But I think the loss of Grealish will obviously affect the team a little bit, because he's been there since he was like, I don't even know what age, but he's been there for years and he's become a vital part of the team. And I think that you're going to miss him a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be as much as people think. Now, I've been talking for a little while there. In 7th, I've put Leicester. Now, I don't know about this one, because I still think Leicester could get into Europe, but I've put a very controversial pick in there. So, Leicester, obviously they can still get Europe in 7th, with somebody in the top 6 winning like the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, and they could still get Europe, but I think they'll finish 7th. I think they'll have a little bit of a worse season. Now, they signed Daka from Salzburg, I think it was, or was it Leipzig, one of the Red Bull teams, and they're obviously going to try and push Vardy out of the team a little bit more, because he's getting a little bit older now, and they're going to try and push Daka in. Now, Daka's a good striker, and I've seen some of his stuff. He's quite good, but I don't think he's Jamie Vardy standard. Now, Jamie Vardy's been getting golden boot after golden boot, and like he's been one of the top strikers in the Premier League for a couple of years now, and I don't think Daka is going to do that this season. Maybe the season after that, but for this season, I don't think it's going to happen. So 7 for that. And you obviously got Sumar from Lille. I don't know if that was the right move either, but I've not seen much of him play. I'm going to be honest about that. I don't know if he's like, he could be an insane player, and I've just not seen it. But I just think they've not. I don't know. There's something about Leicester that's making me feel like they're gonna be 7th. They're not gonna reach Europe this season. Now, obviously, they've got a strong team, and Kasper Schmeichel's looking stronger than ever, but I just feel like there's going to be a little bit of a weird thing there. Now, the reason I'm saying that they could obviously go like 5th or 6th is because I put Arsenal in 6th. Now, I think the recruitment process in Arsenal is honestly all over the place. Like, they're a top team. Arsenal are like one of the top teams in the Premier League, and obviously in the last couple of years they've not been up to standard, but they've still been able to pull players like Lacazette and Pepe and Aubameyang and like those kind of players, and they're obviously coming up now because they've got Joe Willock, they've got Saka, they've got all these really decent players, like really good players, and I feel like they should have enough willpower to pull in some major players, but they've only went for Ben White. Now, he's a good defender, but is he top 6 worthy? I don't know. Is he like ready for that yet? I don't know. But I feel like they could have got someone a little bit better from that, look into other leagues for that. And then obviously the rumours of Aaron Ramsdale coming in, that looks like it's going to be, that looks like it's going to happen. Now, you've got Bernd Leno, I know he's not the greatest, and you sold one of the greatest. You sold the best keeper in the Copa America, Martinez, to Aston Villa. Then he fucking went like mental for Aston Villa, and like now you're gonna try and replace that with Aaron Ramsdale from Sheffield United. I don't think it's the right move. I think the recruitment team in Arsenal is all over the place. They're looking for English talent, and I don't think it's working. I think they need to look into other leagues, maybe like look into the Bundesliga or the French league or that, but it's not happening for me, and it's just weird. Now, top 5. This is where everything gets a little bit tense. Now, I think it's going to be close because I was rattling it in my head for ages. Like, I've been like, oh, maybe Chelsea's going to win and then we're going to come second. Maybe then it's going to be Chelsea, Liverpool, and then us. Maybe then it's going to be us, Liverpool. Maybe it's going to be Liverpool, Chelsea. And I'm like, oh my god, I honestly do not know. So 5th for the Europa League spot. This is the controversial one. I've put Leeds. Now, hear me out on this. I think Leeds are going to be fantastic. I think they're going to have a wonderful season. And here's the reason why. So, obviously, Bamford was on fire last season. I think he's just going to continue that. He's proved a lot of people wrong in the last season. I think he's just going to power on again and do it again. Liam Cooper, getting a little bit old in defence, but he's still got the character for it. I think he's still got that. I seen they got rid of Kiko Casilla, the keeper, so I don't know what they're going to do there. I don't know the other keeper. Obviously they've got Calvin Phillips, fantastic in the Euros, like played out of his skin for England, and I think he's going to bring that form into Leeds. You've obviously got Rafinha. He's a fantastic winger, he's a fantastic player, he's versatile, he's good. And then you brought in obviously Junior Firpo from Barcelona, and I think that's a fantastic move because your left back was Leif Davis. Now he's good, but Firpo, like, he's got Barcelona experience and that. You brought in Jack Harrison like on a deal, like you didn't loan him into you, you actually bought him, and I think, obviously, the man at the top, Marcelo Bielsa, he is going to smash it again. He's such a fantastic manager. I respect the absolute shit out of that manager, and he's just a genius. Like, you see him on the pitch, and like a lot of people make fun of him because like he can't speak English, or he like does the thing in the pitch and kneels down, and like whenever a non-football fan watches it, they're like, oh my god, what's he doing that for? Oh my god, he can't even speak English. Why is he in the English league? But he's a genius when it comes to football. He just knows what his team has and what he can get out of the team, and I think that's fantastic as a manager, and major respects to him. So I think Leeds is going to get into Europe this season. So yeah. Now fourth, I put Chelsea. Now, a couple of months ago, I was honestly saying Chelsea's going to win the league. I think Chelsea's going to win the league because Werner's first season in the club wasn't great, so I thought he was going to have a great season. This one, Ziyech was going to be on form. Havertz was just finding his feet in there. Obviously, Mason Mount, fantastic player in the Euros and in the Champions League final. Breaks my heart to say that, but it's past now and I can talk about it. But Mason Mount, fantastic. Pulisic, obviously, he's amazing. Like Jorginho in the Euros was like control midfields all over the place. It's madness. It's madness. And obviously you've got Edouard Mendy in goal now. You've got that backup of Kepa. I know he's not great, but he's still a backup keeper. And I think your team's fantastic. But in the last couple of weeks during the transfer window, I think it's brought a lot of uncertainty into the team, especially with the amount of strikers that has been rumoured to go to Chelsea, that has been rumoured to be bidded from Chelsea. There's like Haaland, you've got Lewandowski, and you've got Romelu Lukaku, you've got Danny Ings as well. So that's 4 strikers that have been rumoured to go to Chelsea. And I think Timo Werner then will be uncertain about what he's going to do there. And a lot of players are going to be like, whoa, what's happening here? Because Erling Haaland, you're going to try and get, but I don't think he's going to leave Dortmund. Lewandowski says he's open to talking about contracts from Chelsea, so that could be a thing. Lukaku, you've already put a bid in, but that has been rejected. Danny Ings, obviously you've lost him now, but I think it's going to bring a lot of uncertainty into the team, and I think it's going to take a lot of confidence away from the team, because it's just, you see this many strikers like getting rumoured and you're like, oh well, obviously the manager sees a problem in the strike force, and then the strike force that's actually training is like, well, is it us, is it me, is it them, is it, like, you know what I mean? And it's I think it's going to bring a lot of uncertainty, so it's going to bring their confidence down a little bit, but I still think they're going to get Champions League football. Now, in third, I put a very controversial one, and a lot of people are going to say, oh, but you're biased, but I'm not. Now, it's going to seem like that because of what's happening next, but I put Man United in third. Now, I'm going to tell you why. I think, honestly, they need another centre-back to pair up with Maguire. Now, Maguire was getting a lot of stick when he got bought for 80 million, and he's still not worth 80 million, but he's been a decent centre-back for Man United. But they needed somebody else with him. They needed somebody to be alongside him, because Lindelof isn't good enough. They needed somebody to be there with Maguire to really strengthen their defence, because our midfield is really good. Obviously Fred could be replaced, but you've got Van de Beek on the bench who just isn't playing for some reason. But you've got Pogba, you've got Fernandes, that's your midfield, you're sorted. Up front you've got a varied amount of options. You've got Rashford, you've got Martial obviously, you've got Greenwood, you've got all these players. Fernandes can even push up the field, and you've got a lot of options there. I didn't think you needed Sancho. I don't think you needed Sancho at all. I know he's been there and rumoured for like a couple of years now, but I don't think you needed Sancho. I don't think that was your priority. Now, based on rumours, it looks like you might get Sal from Atletico Madrid, which would be a good signing for you, and it would maybe want me to push you up to second, but I still don't think that's enough because of the Pogba rumours. Now, Pogba looks like he's going to be leaving the club. He's not signing a new contract. That's been said even today on Sky Sports News and all that kind of stuff. I know it's not the most reliable, but like all over the place it's said Pogba is not going to sign a new contract, and that's going to be a problem for Man United, obviously. But if you bring in Saul, that's kind of a replacement. But I just don't think Sancho was your number one priority. I think you needed maybe another centre half, because obviously you've got Luke Shaw, who proved himself in the Euros that he can do it. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's one of the best right backs in the country. Harry Maguire, not one of the best centre backs, but a very strong centre back. You've got two decent goalkeepers, De Gea and Dean Henderson, who can swap in and out and compete with each other. But you're missing that other centre half, I think. So that's why I've wanted you in third. Now, in second, I have put Liverpool. Now, I know you're going to say, oh my god, you're biased, but I genuinely think we're going to win the league. But Liverpool in second, and the reason I say this is because obviously Van Dijk's back. I think he's going to push on again, and a lot of people on Twitter is like, oh, but he's not the same since he come back. That's pre-season. Pre-season meant to be like that. He's been out for almost a year and not played a single minute of football and not trained like that much leading up to that pre-season match. So give him another couple of weeks, give him another couple of weeks of training and like another pre-season or whatever, and I think he'll be good to go. I'm saying couple of weeks, the league starts in a couple of weeks, but you know what I mean, like a couple more things of training and all that, I think he'll fly again. And honestly, I think Liverpool's done a fantastic thing with bringing Konate in under the radar. Obviously a lot of people weren't like really going for him, but I think he's a good centre back to pair up with Van Dijk, and he can learn from Van Dijk because Konate's still a little bit younger, so he can learn a lot from Van Dijk and then get up to the stature that he's kind of at. The one thing that's gonna really hurt you this season is losing Wijnaldum. Now, a lot of people don't think Wijnaldum's like a big part of the team because he doesn't get a lot of goal contributions, but honestly I think he runs your midfield. He runs, he passes, he can take shots, and I think he's a fantastic player. I think Wijnaldum's a really good player, and I think Liverpool are going to miss him, honestly. I think it's going to be one of the players that you really do miss. Hopefully you can get someone to replace that, but I don't think you've got like 27 days to replace that, and I don't think that's going to happen. So we'll have to see. And obviously Otavio from Porto has been rumoured to come to you. Now I don't know if that's the right move either, but I think that could give a little bit of competition to Mane and Salah and maybe bring their egos down a little bit, because that last season Mane was way too big-headed for that, I think. But yeah, so I think you're going to finish second. I think you're going to be back in the title race. I honestly put you at the top of the league, and I put us second because I want us to focus on the Champions League. But I think it doesn't really matter what I think. Now, number one, the winners of the league, I said us. And that's not to be biased, it's just because our team is fantastic. The depth that we've got is amazing, and if we get even two of the signings that we're going for, I think we're going to have another strong chance. Now, Grealish, good player, fantastic player. In the Euros, proved himself. Aston Villa last season, proved himself. But I don't think we need him. Honestly, for me, I don't think Man City need him. Now, he's going to play in a number 8 role, which is Gundogan. And obviously Gundogan's getting a little bit older now, but the our main player last season, the main reason we got to the top, or one of the main reasons apart from Ruben Diaz, was Gundogan. He was running our midfield, he was scoring our goals, he was doing everything, and he was so good. Now I don't know how we can just go out, buy Jack Grealish and replace him and start kicking him out of our team and start pushing him away from Man City. I don't think that's the right thing to do, because I think he's still a fantastic player. Now I may be wrong, but I don't think we need Grealish. Now Harry Kane, I think we need a striker. We do need a striker. We need somebody to take over the reins from Aguero. Now I know Harry Kane isn't as good as Aguero is, but he's round about the same stature. He gets golden boots like back to back, and he scores goals, and he can pull himself back and work the midfield and then go up and score. He's been doing that for Tottenham for years. He's been up here and then he's not been able to get the ball, and he'd come back down, work it in the midfield, and then push himself right back up again and then score. So I think Kane maybe would have been number one more than Jack Grealish, but obviously Kane's going to be harder because Daniel Levy does not want to sell him, doesn't want to let him go from the club, but obviously Harry Kane wants to leave, so it's a big fuss. But the one player that's been rumoured to us, now I hope that this was true and I hope that we actually go for it, is Grimaldo from Benfica. Now I think he's a fantastic fullback. I think he's got everything we need, because Kyle Walker and João Cancelo especially can be in the right back or left back, and he's moving around. As soon as we attack, he's in the midfield, he joins us, and then he comes up, attacks, and then as soon as we lose the ball, he comes right back down. That's kind of what Grimaldo does as well. I've seen that in a lot of games from Grimaldo, and I think we need that top quality left back to replace Benjamin Mendy. Obviously he's been injured and it's halted his progress at Manchester City, because when we signed him he was a good left back from Monaco, but the injuries have kind of took a toll on him. And Zinchenko, as much as he is a really good left back, and I think he's one of the most underrated left backs in the league, I don't think he's good enough to start all season. And then even if he is, Grimaldo can come in and give competition to him, and they can fight for who wants to start more games. And then I just think he's going to help us in the long run for ages. Now obviously the team that we have already, Ederson, we've got Diaz, we've got Laporte, we've got De Bruyne, Foden, Sterling, Mahrez, I think he could slot into that team very, very easily. And I think if we get, I don't want Grealish, but maybe he could bring something. But if we get Grimaldo, at least I'll be happy. I'll be a happy Manchester City fan. But yeah, so that's my league table right there. I've put it up here. So put in the comments what yours is. Tell me where you think I went wrong, but these are my opinions. I know this has been 43 minutes, I do apologise. But tell me what you think, where I went wrong here. But my league table's here, so compare it. Put yours down in the comment, 1 to 20. Show me your tables. And yeah, I'll get to reading some of them and I'll reply to some of you in the comments. Now, that is it for this video today. Obviously, I'll be back in a year's time to do this, and Logic's album reaction is going to come up. So if you guys did enjoy the video, remember to smash the like button on it. That would mean a ton to me. Why did I just stop? As I said, put down in the comments your predictions and what you want me to react to, what videos you want me to make in the future, and I'll get round to doing them. If you do enjoy this content and all the content on my channel, subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on any of the content coming up on my channel. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.